My name is Ted Jackson, and I will be your moderator today. I'm the Community Organizing Director at California Foundation for Independent Living Centers. Disability Organizing Network is very proud to host Fred Neeson from Disability Rights California today to talk about a training on your voting rights. The power of the disability vote, know your rights. And our presenter today, of course, is Fred Neeson. He's the staff attorney at Disability Rights California. And Fred is a member of the state bars of California and Nevada. From 1997 to 1999, he was a rights attorney for the Nevada Disability Advocacy and Law Center, Nevada's protection and advocacy system for people with disabilities. At NDALC, he dealt with various aspects of disability rights law. Since 1999, he has worked for us here in California through Disability Rights California. And since June of 2000, he has been a staff attorney in the Bay Area Regional Office. His focus is mainly on housing and public benefits. And there's a picture of Fred on the screen here from the recent Election Summit 2014, Ramp Up the Disability Vote in Pasadena. And Fred, you're on.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
My name is Fred Neeson.
My name is Fred Neeson. I'm with Disability Rights California.
We are federally mandated.
We are, is it federally mandated? For no. But protection and advocacy system.
For people with disabilities in California.
For people with disabilities in California.
As a result,
we get a grant
to advocate for the voting rights of people with disabilities.
To advocate for the voting rights for people with disabilities.
Before I get started on my slides, I want to give you a couple of statistics.
I want to give you a couple of statistics.
About 35 million people.
There are about 35 million people
with disabilities
in the U.S. That are eligible to vote.
However, only about 15 million.
However, only about 15 million.
Or about 40%.
Or about 40%. Actually vote.
That means
That means that about, was it 60%?
Of the people with disabilities.
Of people with disabilities. do not get their voices heard.
Generally, everybody with a disability,
Generally, everybody with a disability,
like anybody else,
like anybody else,
has the right to vote.
has the right to vote. There are a few obstacles.
Some of which I will talk about today.
Some of them we are going to talk about today.
And I hope
And I hope
it will help me break down the barriers.
and I hope it will
Help you
help you
to break down the barriers.
to break down the barriers,
Because a lot of them
because a lot of them
are due to people not knowing their rights.
are due to people not knowing their rights.
Next slide.
Next slide.
Everybody has three options to vote.
Everyone has 3 options to vote in California.
The first is vote by mail,
The first is vote by mail,
which is a great option for a lot of people with disabilities.
which is a great option for a lot of people with disabilities.
And people that have problems going outside their home.
Especially people that have problems going outside their home.
People that want to take a while to fill out the ballot.
Or people that take a while to fill out the ballot.
And it is no, and it's great, especially for people
And it is
great
great for
for people
people
who are able to sit down, fill out the ballot,
for people who are able to sit down and fill out the ballot
themselves
and put it in the envelope.
But there's a lot of people
There's a lot of people
with
with
disabilities
disabilities
who like to go the polling place.
I'm sorry, who
Who like to go to the polling place.
like to go to a polling place.
And the polling place
At the polling place,
for people with disabilities
people with disabilities
have two options.
have 2 options.
They can vote by paper ballot like everybody else.
They could vote by paper ballot like everybody else.
They can get accessible high table
Or they could get an accessible No.
They can get adjustable.
They can get inaccessible.
Adjustable.
Adjustable.
Height.
Adjustable height.
Table.
Table.
A magnifying glass.
A magnifying glass.
And other accommodations.
And other accommodations.
But
There are some people
who want to
want to or need to
vote with an accessible voting machine.
vote with an accessible voting machine.
Live.
Okay, next slide. An accessible voting machine. Has two components. Sorry, a touch screen.
Or
a
audio.
radio.
AODIO.
An audio ballot. Okay. Which is important.
Because not everybody can vote independently. Because
not everybody can vote secretly or independently.
By mail or by equal ballot.
Sorry, one more time.
By mail.
But now.
By mail.
Oh, by mail.
Or by paper ballot.
Or by paper ballot. Because of dexterity and impairments. Dexterity impairments. Visual disabilities. And learning disabilities.
Or intellectual disabilities.
Or intellectual disabilities.
A lot of people with disabilities.
A lot of people with with speech disabilities? No. Sorry, was it C like cat?
A lot of people need the machine.
A lot of people that need the machine.
Cannot vote.
Cannot vote.
In secret.
In secret.
Otherwise.
Or otherwise.
Next slide.
Next slide.
I want to emphasize that the power is right.
I wanted to emphasize that a secret ballot is your right.
Next slide.
Next slide.
It's protected by the California Constitution.
Was it specified in the California Constitution?
Protected
Protected
by the California Constitution.
by the California Constitution.
Next slide.
Next slide.
Emphasizing your right to accessible ballot.
Emphasizing you have the right to an accessible ballot.
Whatever that means to you.
Whatever that means for you.
And the voting. Oh, not lie.
Next slide.
And the voting.
You have the right to vote independently.
A lot of people think
A lot of people think
that because they have a disability,
they give up that right.
they give up that right. And a lot of people have said that.
Okay, and
A lot of
courts
before this year.
Sorry, I didn't quite catch that part.
Before this year.
Have said that.
However,
there is a recent case where the judge says
that the other court will not let
that the other courts were not right.
And that people with disability have the right to a private independent ballot.
And people with disabilities have a right to a private independent ballot.
Like anybody else.
Like anybody else.
Next slide.
Next slide. There are federal and state laws
that protect
that protect voters with disabilities.
The main one being the Help America Vote Act.
The main one is the Help America Vote Act.
Or HAVA.
Or HAVA.
There's two important things.
It has two important things.
First, all foreign person must be accessible to voters with disabilities.
Sorry, it says
All foreign places
all polling places
must be accessible
Must be accessible.
for people with disabilities.
For people with disabilities.
In addition to having an accessible path of travel.
Sorry, one more time.
In addition,
It is.
in addition
In addition.
to having an accessible path of travel.
Sorry, access to was accessible.
In addition to inaccessible
Okay. In addition to an accessible
path of travel.
an accessible
Path of travel.
a path of travel. Okay.
Oh, there must be a voting system in place
There must be a voting system in place
at every polling place.
at every voting place,
Polling place
every polling place.
that has a voting system
To have a voting system
that allows people with disabilities
that allows people with disabilities
to vote properly and
to vote privately and independently.
with life.
Next slide.
In addition to other
And then HAVA. There are other federal laws
that protect voters with disabilities,
that protect voters with disabilities,
like the ADA,
like the ADA,
people with disabilities,
voting accessibility,
of the Elderly and Handicapped Act, for
the Elderly and Handicapped Act,
and no federal standards
federal
for
for electronic voting systems. Next slide. Recently, we've tried to focus on access for voters who are deaf or hard of hearing. So it was the first part that was at the polling place. The voters. The poll workers. Okay. To make sure that they get the same information visually
as well as verbally.
As well as verbally.
Last
Next slide.
one forward announcement.
When co-workers need to make announcements.
Like if there's a long line.
Like if there's a long line.
Or the poll about the polls.
Or that the polls are about to close.
They need to provide that information.
They need to provide that information.
Visually
and or
in
in writing. Next slide.
Oh, well, if the polling place is not accessible for
If a polling place is not accessible.
the polling place is not accessible for disabilities.
If a polling place is not accessible to people with disabilities.
Or if somebody just can't get out of it, or
Or if somebody can't get out of their home,
that, or
their car.
there is overtime voting
There is curbside voting.
where a poll worker
Or a poll worker
brings the ballot to the curb.
brings a ballot to the curb
Oh,
or parking lot.
and allow the person to vote.
It allows the person to vote.
The one problem has been if the person is alone.
The one problem
Has been
has been
if the person is alone.
if the person is alone.
They have to find somebody to go and tell the poll
They have to find somebody to go in and tell the poll worker
that they are alive.
that they are outside.
But some and those
Okay, but some counties
have more bells.
some counties have
Gotten bells.
Have gotten bells.
The polling place is not accessible.
They put in if the polling place is not accessible.
The bad person can notify.
Sorry, was it so can notify?
The person can notify
So the person can notify
the poll workers
the poll workers
that they need assistance
that they need assistance
outside.
outside.
It's not all easy as it yet.
It's not
All counties
not all counties.
and the ones that do
And the ones that do
have a limitation
Have a limited amount. Next slide. If there is a person with disabilities. No. Of course. Voters with disabilities. Can have someone assist them at the polling place. The one exception. That it can't be their employer. Or a member of the union. There can be up to 2 people that assist them. If the coworker can definitely allow. The coworkers are definitely allowed. And encouraged. To help people with disabilities vote. They're supposed to keep all information confidential. But one thing I'd like to make clear. And I do this. I talk to the counties as well. The person assisting the voter is okay.
But
it should not be used as a substitute. For the accessible machine. I've been doing voting advocacy
for about 6 or 8 years.
For about 6 or 8 years. Say it one more time. It took me a couple of examples to realize just how important that voting accessible machines are.
accessible voting machines.
Just how important that accessible voting machines are.
And how important the right to a secret ballot is.
And how important the rights to a secret ballot is.
For example,
For example,
and this is a personal example,
and this is a personal example.
4 years ago,
4 years ago,
I had to be at a conference
I had to be at a conference
on election day.
on election day.
And so I had to vote by mail.
So I had to vote by mail.
So my mom helped me fill out the ballot.
So I had my mom help me fill out the ballot.
And as she was helping me,
And as she was helping me,
she kept saying, "Why did you vote for that?
she kept saying,
Why did you vote for that?"
"Why did you vote for that?"
And that made me feel weird.
And that made me feel weird.
And then 2 years ago,
And then 2 years ago,
I had one
2 years ago, I
as a client
had a client
that went to home place
that went to a polling place
and was accessible machine did not work.
and the accessible machine did not work.
And she was blind.
She was blind.
And she had to have a husband
She had to ask her husband
to help her fill out the paper ballot.
to help her fill out the paper ballot.
And she felt very uncomfortable even telling her husband
She felt very uncomfortable even telling her husband
how she wanted to vote.
how she wanted to vote.
There was examples of how important this is.
Is there examples of how important this is?
Okay, next slide.
Okay, next slide.
The next slide is a reminder
The next slide is a reminder
that individuals can have a service animal in the poll.
that individuals may have service animals in the poll
under the ADA.
under the ADA.
Just like any place, any place of public accommodation.
That
Just like any place.
and that's allowed at any place.
No. It's the same as any public place.
It's the same as any public place.
Next slide.
Next slide.
Remember to vote for October 20.
remember to register to vote by October 20th.
And that lie.
Next slide.
That the Paradise, California
Disability Rights California
has election hotline
has an Election Day hotline for voters with disabilities
from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m.
from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m.
And the number is 888
And the number is 888
569
569
7955.
7955.
You ought to have a flyer.
You all can have a flyer.
You ought to have a flyer.
So you already should have a flyer.
If you don't, let me know.
If you don't, let me know.
And I would love it if you could disseminate it wisely.
And I would love it if
You can send it out
you can send it out
to all the contacts.
to all of your contacts.
And that's it.
Let me know if there's any questions.
All right, thank you very much, Fred. This is all really, really good information. I think that I have been through a Know Your Rights training with Fred Neeson probably 8 or 9 times now between 2 election cycles, and every time I pick up something new pops out at me and everything. So I really enjoy what Fred brings to the table for us and the information. So we have time for questions and answers now. So I'll start us off right now, and I'm just going to go ahead and ask Fred a really big question, because in voting we come across all sorts of barriers. While the world of elections is getting much and much better at being accessible with polling places, but also with access to information and information in other languages and things like that, there are still threats to access and barriers to access out there. Fred, what do you think is the #1 threat to accessible voting or barrier out there that's either remerging or emerging? What's the big thing?
Personally, I
Personally, I think it's the accessible machine.
And
there's a couple reasons.
First of all the machines
First of all of the machines
are 10 years old
are 10 years old
or older,
or older,
and they are obsolete.
and they are obsolete.
So when things break down,
So when one breaks down,
it's hard to find parts.
it's hard to find parts.
The other obstacle maybe
The other obstacle may be
a bigger one.
a bigger one.
And you know, I just found out the other day
Yeah, I just found out the other day.
in some counties,
Some counties,
one,
at least one,
and the anymore. Don't want people to use accessible machines.
Don't want people to use the accessible machines?
Either because I don't believe it's safe.
Because
Either they don't believe it's safe.
and they don't believe it's safe?
Or
Or
if I were to set them up,
I'm sorry, or that
it's a lot of work
it's a lot of work
to maintain them
to maintain them
and to train all workers how to use them.
and to train poll workers how to use them.
And as you know, some counties really want all votes by mail.
And as you know, some counties really want all votes by mail.
But so far, they can't do at least in the federal and statewide elections.
So far,
They can't do that
they can't do that
in the federal or statewide elections.
in the federal or statewide elections.
Right.
But that,
Yeah. Yeah, and it sounds like there's just so many issues with funding there. I want to know if someone on the teleconference line has a question, or anyone in the room. Does anyone have a question? So, Fred, I know that I have been to some other events with you, and vote by mail is certainly becoming a big issue around California. Can you talk to us a little bit about how, while it is an option for some people with disabilities and for some voters, how if we went to an all vote by mail system, how that could be a barrier for people with disabilities?
It's all vote by mail system.
If it was an all vote by mail system,
A lot of people, including me,
a lot of people, including me,
either some vote,
one more time,
either could not vote,
that could not vote,
or
or
waive the right to a secret ballot.
or waive the rights to a secret ballot.
Because no accessible machines.
Because there are no accessible machines.
And if they have one machine every county,
And if
they have one machine
they add one machine,
that have
if they have one machine
every county,
to every county,
or something like that.
or something like that,
One machine for every 100,000 people.
or one machine for every
100,000 people.
machine for 1,000 people,
Or 100,000
Or 100,000 people?
People need accessible.
And you would make people who need to use the accessible machine. Travel. Longer distances.
With a lot of people
Which a lot of people with disabilities can't do.
All right, does anyone else have any questions today?
Hi, Ted. This is Jeanette.
Great. Jeanette, go ahead with your question.
Okay. So God forbid this doesn't happen, but so I've gone to my polling place and checked it out beforehand, and it looks like it's going to be accessible. But we all know that once November 4th happens, that there's a possibility that because of whatever reason, the polling place may become inaccessible. So I'm outside the polling place, and I have a person with a disability comes out and says they couldn't vote for some reason. What are their rights at that point? If they haven't been unable to vote due to something beyond their control, something to do with the polling place or lack of a machine or the machine's not working, what rights do they have at that point that I can help them with to make sure their voice is still heard?
You can always tell the election department. Or the was it registry? Registrar of voters. Whatever it is. Whatever it's called in your county.
They should be able to get you to the accessible polling place.
You should be able to get you to an accessible voting place or polling place.
And not give us a call.
If not, give us a call.
We can see what we can do.
And we can see what we can do.
And the person I would like to file a complaint.
Alright, you're saying it's the person?
Would have the right to file a complaint.
Have to file.
And file a complaint.
They would have to call and file a complaint?
If they so wish.
If they so wish.
But for that, it'd be good to call us and we could provide you with more information. For that, you could call us.
So that you could call us.
And we could provide more detailed advice.
And we could provide more details and advice.
But the important thing was get the
The important thing would be to get the person to vote. Now we would call the county. You could call the county. Sorry, and if that doesn't work, you could definitely call us.
Great. It's so awesome, Fred, that you and Disability Rights California are out there as a resource for folks, especially with the Election Day hotline. I just want to reiterate the hotline number. It's 1-888-569-7955. Every organizer should have that number in their back pocket between now and Election Day as they come across these issues that folks have. And on Election Day, November 4th, 2014, it's open. This hotline is open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. You can also see the hotline posted on our website at disabilityorganizing.net and just click on the Ramp Up the Disability Vote icon on our homepage, and that'll take you to our voting page, and it's posted there. You can also download the flyer for Disability Rights California's Election Day hotline to share it, email it out, post it in your center or your office or around your neighborhood. So the information is there on that voting page. We have a question from Cindy Soto from downtown Los Angeles, and Cindy is asking, what if my polling place is not accessible? Can I go to another polling place that is accessible?
Yes, but I will the registrar first.
Yes, but I would call the registrar first.
To find out the nearest one.
To find out the nearest one.
And see if there's a way for you to vote by regular ballot.
And see if there's a way for you to vote
by regular ballot.
Was it by regular ballot?
Rather than provisional.
Are you saying private? No.
Rather than provisional.
Is it something named provisional? Okay.
Because if you're not on the roster,
Because if they're not on the roster,
you have to vote provisional.
you have to vote for regional?
Provisional.
Sorry, for...
No.
No.
Provisional.
You have to vote provisional?
So, Fred, do you mind if I help out?
No.
So Fred's
Go
talking
ahead.
about a provisional ballot. And with a provisional ballot, it means that you're not pre-registered at that particular polling place. They don't have you on the voter rolls for that polling place. So one option that you do have is to go fill out to another polling place and fill out a provisional ballot. You could also go to your county registrar of voters building, your county elections office, and fill out a provisional ballot. Different counties have different races, and there are different rules sometimes about provisional ballots. Typically, they're not opened. They're canvassed in the final vote, but they're not open for your local elections unless there is a contest that's really close. But usually, they always do get opened in most counties, especially because we have a lot of runoffs these days. Things are really close. Cindy, have you experienced that your polling place has not been accessible in the past? We'll wait to see if, yes. So Cindy says that her polling place has not been accessible in the past. And I know Cindy is down in Long Beach. Go ahead, Fred.
What I would do is you voters now.
What I would do is contact your registrar of voters now.
Say you can be assigned to a accessible polling place.
So you can be assigned to an accessible voting polling place.
And what area are you in? LA?
And what county are you in?
Cindy's in Los Angeles County, and she's down in the Long Beach area. Ironically, she is in the video for the city of Long Beach for their accessible voting machine. And she says here on the chat box that it's been in a church basement, and so it's been inaccessible. So Cindy, did you get what Fred said, that you could go to your county elections, or you can contact the county elections and get reassigned to an accessible polling place? Cindy says yes, great, through the chat box. All right, folks, are there any other questions today? All right, if not, I'm going to go ahead and wrap us up. First up, before I wrap up, I want to say a big thank you to Fred Neeson from Disability Rights California. I'm going to ask everyone to kind of raise your hand and give some applause or a smiley face or something like that on the webinar system, because Fred did a great job, as he always does, of giving us information, and he gives us fresh information every election cycle when we partner to do these trainings, whether in person or by webinar. So thank you for joining us today. The Disability Organizing Network is committed to getting out the disability vote and ramping it up this year. Check us out on the web. We have an interactive website at disabilityorganizing.net, and our Facebook page is filled with lots of information, as well as pictures of folks wearing their Ramp Up the Disability Vote t-shirts and putting the signs up in windows and getting that message out into the community. Our Facebook page is facebook.com/donetwork.org. And you can follow us on Twitter, and our Twitter handle is @donetwork.org. There's no dot between work and org. It's @donetwork.org, all one word. And before we leave today, I just wanted to let you know that we do have a training library on our website. If you click on our events, training and events page, and then at the top of that page, click on the Training Library Archive, you can see all of our webinars, which are recorded and captioned. Today's webinar is being recorded and will be up on the website in 7 to 10 business days. So thank you all very much, and don't forget, come to disabilityorganizing.net and click on our voting page to ramp up the disability vote for election 2014. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.